It was 1878, and Justice O.R. Leonard, an Associate Justice on the Nevada Supreme Court, sighed wearily as he once more went over the puzzling facts of the Ah Chuey case. The trouble had begun on December 24, 1877. Reno was just settling in for a cozy Christmas Eve, but despite the upcoming holiday, it was business as usual at the wash house owned by Ah Tong. Ah Tong, with the help of his two assistants, was busy winding up the day's work. Suddenly gunshots rang out from inside the wash house. Bystanders jumped aside as two men dashed from the building and ran off down the street. One of the men had been seen entering the wash house just a few moments before. Fire appeared inside the building, and it wasn't long before the entire wash house was engulfed in flames. Hours later, rummaging through the smoldering ruins, searchers discovered the remains of a body. It was badly burned and horribly disfigured. The identity would never be determined. But it was surmised that the body must have been Ah Tong, the owner. Since the fire he had not been seen, it was naturally assumed that Ah Tong had been the victim of foul play, no doubt perpetrated by the person seen fleeing from the burning wash house. Witnesses provided a sketchy description of the suspects. One was identified as a man known as Ah Chuey. The identification proved faulty, however. When the man identified as Ah Chuey was apprehended, he failed to fit the description provided by the witnesses. At the trial, those witnesses admitted the subject's appearance had somehow changed. Even more troubling, thought Justice Leonard, this man adamantly insisted that his name was not Ah Chuey at all, but Sam Good. At the trial, the critical testimony was offered by the prosecution's chief witness, S.H. Rhodes. Rhodes testified that he had known Ah Chuey for about a year, and that Ah Chuey had a distinctive tattoo on his right forearm. The prosecution directed the defendant to uncover his arm. The defense promptly objected, contending that forcing the defendant to exhibit his arm would violate his constitutional right against self-incrimination. The trial judge disagreed, and the objection was overruled. But when ordered to uncover his arm, the defendant still refused. The sheriff was brought in to force the man to comply. As the defendant slowly pulled up his shirt sleeve, there was the ominous tattoo. It was a tattoo of a female figure, exactly as Rhodes had suggested in his testimony. Not surprisingly, the jury brought in a verdict of guilty in the case of Ah Chuey. The case was immediately appealed to the Nevada Supreme Court. But, mused Justice Leonard, was the man calling himself Sam Good really Ah Chuey? More important, was it proper for the trial court to force him to reveal his tattoo? After all, the Nevada Constitution specifically stated that no person shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself. That question would pit Justice Leonard firmly against his senior colleague on the bench, Justice Thomas P. Hawley. Justice Leonard sought to resolve the question by drawing upon the well-rooted principle underlying the Nevada Constitution. He urged the court to consider what he referred to as the spirit of justice and humanity, which established the first of all legal presumptions, that every person be considered innocent until proven guilty. Referring to this broad principle, Leonard reasoned that it would be as wrong to order a person to reveal a hidden identity mark as it would be to order him to testify against himself. Both sides agreed that that would violate the Constitution, but Justice Hawley took an opposing stance. Hawley insisted that the object of every criminal trial is to ascertain the truth, while he acknowledged that the Constitution shielded the defendant from being a witness against himself. He also maintained that the true purpose behind the protection was to prevent false testimony from being given by the accused. He insisted that the main issue was not the truth or falsity of Ah Chuey's statements, but the existence or non-existence of an identifying physical mark. Justice Leonard remained unconvinced. Despite the logic of Justice Hawley's arguments, he could not agree. But as it turned out, his vote hardly mattered. You see, the third Supreme Court Justice, William H. Beatty, eventually sided with Justice Hawley. The strange case of Ah Chuey, the murder and the burning bathhouse, would stand.